How's it going, everybody? This is Midas Drop, and we are Midas Print. Today, we have a special couple today. They're some people that I met along the way, some mentors, some people that love to read, and they are well invested in real estate, and they have a great story to tell, which actually inspired me to start the podcast and also start my journey as a real estate investor. We have Marcus and Jaquita.
Yep.
How y'all doing?
Doing
Doing
great,
well,
doing
man.
great.
So, as you can see, my guests really don't know y'all. It's kind of like just bringing people on, but to me, I feel like y'all fit in this space of like Midas print, which is like everybody has three things in common: time, effort, and energy. And y'all also like dedicated to the community, which our networking event for Phoebe Capital, which is smartest real estate investor, which we have a event tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes,
So, everybody's just working and then we get, a time to like really network and have fun. But let's go into y'all story and how y'all got started in real estate investing.
All right. You want
You want to
to?
kick it off?
All right. So actually, real
Mhm.
estate. We got to start in investing because of me. I've
Mhm.
always liked real estate, and when I first wanted to get into real estate, I thought I wanted to be like a designer. And I'm like, I used to watch all the HGTV, all the fantasy
Yeah.
stuff. And so I was like, Marcus, let's purchase some property. And this is like in college. Had no money, bad credit, no idea what we were doing. And so, I mean, as time passed, the dream kind of just like went away. But then Marcus, I guess, started looking up some stuff after we graduated and we started having more children.
Income.
And
A real
income.
income.
And
Yeah.
income.
Yeah.
Yes. He started to look into it, and literally the day before I gave birth to our last daughter, he had me sitting in a lady's living room talking about real estate, get started.
Yeah.
So
I ain't no excuses. You say you want to
No
do this thing,
excuses.
we're going to do this.
Yeah,
Right.
he set it up. I mean, unknown to me, he was like, "Hey, we're going here tomorrow." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And so literally, she became our mentor, and we like got started doing subject to real estate.
Yeah.
And so from there, we went on to do several things from subject to wholesaling and things like that. So it just was a just constantly elevating
Yeah.
and pivoting based on our circumstances, based on life and everything. We tried a few different strategies, which led us to what we do now, which is private money.
Yep.
Private money.
Yeah, private money.
So,
lending.
like, let's get into that. Like, I understand from, Marcus gave me a book, Raising Capital in Real Estate, which is a very extraordinary book. I didn't know what to expect when I read that book.
Yeah.
But I know I finished it before the next event.
Yeah.
And this is what helped me start the podcast. But like y'all mentioned mentor. Like a mentor got y'all started.
Yeah.
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 That is like so pivotal to anybody's success.
Yeah.
Like that was the main reason I met y'all. But when I was doing my Airbnb,
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
we don't
Yeah.
do anything without mentorship.
Right.
Yeah.
From the very
Okay.
beginning. So like from the subject to, we had somebody kind of, taking us through that. Wholesaling, we had somebody
Yeah.
taking us through that. Flipping, our private money lender was actually like our mentor in
Yeah.
that.
And the contractor that we first worked with as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about him.
And
Yeah,
for
for
wholesaling, we
sure.
had several people because we had some friends that were doing it, and then my dad was doing it before me.
Yeah.
And my dad had paid a lot of money for a course and mentorship. So I'm like, I'm just gonna eat off of this basically.
Yeah.
And he taught me a lot, and actually he is the one that sold us our first flip. So that's how we got started in flipping. I mean, it was just happenstance. We did not even plan on flipping right away. We knew we wanted to go there, but we didn't think we were ready.
Yeah.
So when he presented that opportunity to us, we were like,
well, did he present it or did he like, y'all gonna do this?
He was like, here's the deal. Call this guy, get finance, and get finance, and that's what happened.
We kept trying to, hit him with all the objections.
Yeah,
no money, credit shot, all of this. He was like, okay, well, this person can take care of that. That person can take care of that. Hard money, I got you on that. Was like, well, we don't know anything about contracts. I got you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He even brought the contract. There was no way we weren't going to do that deal.
I just had an epiphany just now. Like, I have to be so grateful to him because he literally brought us the deal.
Yep.
The lender.
Yep.
As well as the contractor.
Yep. The whole thing.
And so,
wow.
Yeah, and then our partner in it was my sister.
Yeah.
So he brought me that too. It's my sister on my dad's side. So,
So it was like family business.
Yes.
Wow.
And then, I mean, we've worked with our lender for years, and actually he became a mentor in the private money space.
Yep. So always have a mentor.
Yeah.
Always. Now, I look back now, I said, bruh, always have a mentor.
Yeah.
Cause when I was doing the Airbnb, it was basically too late when I came to y'all. Cause I was like doing 80 hours and I was like, man, I gotta go to the event. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And I was finishing up a DoorDash with the nice shirt I had on, the pants, and like I was in dress shoes, door dashing.
Yeah.
Cause at this point I was like, I don't even care. I'm so desperate to be at an event just to like be there and trying to find a mentor.
Yeah.
And here we are again.
Yeah, and that's why the events are important, because when I was talking to you, the whole time I was just basically trying to get a understanding of where you were, where you want to be, your personality, and all of that stuff. And that's when I mentioned that book. I was like, okay, based on all of this stuff you just said, it's probably better for you to go that route. And we tell people that even when they're at our event, like to just go to events and meet people. Even before you start a particular strategy, because you never know what you might pick up on, what you might learn, and somebody may show you something that you didn't even know was out there. So just networking, events like that, that's the way to go, especially if you're starting out.
Yeah. And speaking of mentorship, it's very rewarding even for the mentor to have someone to teach and look up to them and everything and like show them the ropes, because I mean it can be rewarding just as fulfillment, because we get a lot of fulfillment out of the events that we throw, meeting up with people like you after the events, doing lunch, no matter even if we never do a business transaction together, just to know that you're working on your business and we're helping you through that process is just very rewarding.
For real.
Yeah.
And I also, when I came, y'all had like a lot of people like that was able to speak for y'all, which is really good. Like y'all have that, it's kind of like those customer reviews.
Social proof.
Oh,
Yeah, social proof.
Yeah.
Like y'all had like people coming in, you're like, oh yeah, we helped them do this. We helped them do wholesale. And now they do wholesale all the time. They do it like constantly. And that's what helped them get from the 9 to 5. And I was like, Brad, what?
Yeah. It's trying to help as many people as we can. Because like I said, we had mentorship, so we didn't want to be, hypocritical. Let's go. Each one teach one.
And it's funny because you took like a therapeutic approach, and like you was like, I was asking questions about your personality, about what you want to do, your background, where you're standing at. And one time you told me, you said, you're pretty good at networking. Like I see you come in, you just talk to people, you just have a whole conversation with them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't even notice that, because a lot of times I'm nervous. I'm like, bro.
Yeah, we all are. That initial interaction.
It's awkward.
Yeah, right. But once you get past that, then, that's when the relationships build. And, you never know what may come next out of the relationship. So that's why even at our event, we try not to let people leave without getting at least 2 people's numbers.
Right.
At least 2.
That's the formula. Like every time I go to an event now, I at least get 2 numbers. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. Now I'm just going to sit around and just talk to people, see what they do, where they're at in life, where they want to go. Yeah. And it ends up like I'm having an interview. Yeah. Because I'm done. I think I did my work. Now I'm just trying to build rapport and like get them familiarized with me. So when I come the next time, it's like, oh, what's up, man? How you been?
Yeah. How's that working out for you?
It's magic. It feels like magic, but I'm like, man, I gotta go to more.
No, that's true. It's a numbers game. Especially in the beginning, but then it becomes a quality game. Yeah. Because you want to just go wide and meet as many people as you can, but then those ones you keep having interactions with and they know you and you know them, those are the ones you're actually going to start building that relationship with and actually doing some business with. So,
and then I have a podcast. So when I already have a podcast going, I don't have any real estate, but I'm working on it. But the podcast is like kind of like that bridge for them. Yeah. And they're like, oh, he got something at least to give to, if I want to go on and express what I got going on to the people and build up my audience, right?
Right.
So that's something that I always looked into, and I didn't get discouraged.
Yeah. So this is your social proof. This is your way of
giving
back.
Yes. And that's major for people in the real estate industry, especially for people like us that's raising capital, people that need a customer base,
Yeah.
is major. So you're providing something that's for sure, that's real and it's tangible. So
Right.
don't discount yourself.
Yeah,
I always tell people that. A lot of people come in like, well, I'll just do this or I just do that.
Yeah, no.
No, you're a boss within your own right. So, yeah.
And so I wanted to touch on something because I remember the last meetup with Christopher Allen, Shoot Your Shot, and me and Marcus was having like this talk, and I was like, I'm trying to go to more events, but I feel like going to real estate just feels mundane, like it feels redundant, like keep going over to the same people. And I'm like, I want to take a different angle. And Marcus was like, yeah, that's why you don't just go to real estate investing circles. He said, go to a real estate broker one where you actually meet people who are actually real estate brokers and they have a better like eye of the market. And I'm like, oh
yeah.
I had a moment of like little thing, and I'm like, man, okay, of course, it's Marcus and Jaquita. They've been in the game long, and like also that's another thing that's uncomfortable for me. A lot of these rooms I'm in now, and I'm getting invited to, the audience age is like 30 to 45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I relate in this aspect?
Yeah.
But the best thing to do is ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And be honest with where you are and where you're trying to go. Because when a lot of people they're not honest up front and they pretend like, they're way further ahead than they are, then that leads people to not think they need guidance.
Yeah.
So just be honest about your journey and where you are and where you're trying to go. And then another reason why we attend these events, because again, we're entering a different market. We're entering the private money space. So we have to go wide again. So we go to title company events. We go to chiropractor events. We have a really good friend who's a chiropractor, and that's our entry into the medical space. Knowing someone personally is always a great aspect. So that we started with chiropractic. So because we know someone in that industry. And we know a lot of people in title as well. And a lot of investors, when you go to title events, you'll find more realtors than anything. But investors should know that they should be there too. Because title company has everyone's contact information. From lenders to buyers to sellers. Like they have everyone. And once you get in good with them, then they'll start recommending you as well for those things. So they can't necessarily give you the information, but they'll name drop you. And they'll, like you said, like when people were talking about us and they've said that we've connected them, title can say the same thing about us and then name drop us, and hey, there goes another transaction.
That name drop, that sounds sweet.
That's how we get, I'm gonna say 100% of our business is referrals.
It's referral, 100%.
We don't market at all. So basically, when we switched from flipping homes to private money, we went from project-based business to people business. That's why we're all.
I remember you saying that, and that was crazy to me because he was like,
people.
He was like, our business is people. This is a people business. When you said that, I was like, okay, that clicked. That clicked a lot more. Like, when y'all used to talk to me, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, Quita was like, yeah, you can get 5 people and you can raise $10,000 for each person. I was like, okay, that's $50,000. She's like, yeah, that's how you can get the money to, help raise money and, get private money. And I was like, bruh, what is he talking about? But there I go again. Marcus gives me the book because I keep talking about private money. I'm like, what is this? What is this? Raising capital. And he gives me that book. And now I'm like, okay, I read it. I'm back again. I'm like, now I understand why y'all talk the way y'all talk, because y'all about it. Y'all live it.
Yeah. And I mean, once you're getting started, it's hard to find someone, like one person with $50,000.
Right.
But do a lot of people have $10,000 laying around? In our age, yes. Do they want to make money off of it?
Of course.
Because now you said a lot of the age range is 30 to 45. You're thinking, what is your next move? You're getting closer to retirement. You do not want to be broke.
Right.
You want to have assets build up. You want to just have money. You want to have options is what I'm saying. So with that, to find 5 people that's willing to give you $10,000 for a return on it, and would that allow you to get into a flip or even a rental and pay them their their residuals off of it? That's absolutely a possibility, and that's why some people just like Marcus said with us, they just get stuck at that first step. They just feel like, it's no way possible I'm ever going to get there. But you just have to think outside of the box and think creatively. And we just put that information out there to get their wheels turning and to know that it is possible.
So that age range that you mentioned, I just realized that you are in the perfect room.
Yes.
That age range is our target.
Right.
It's a part of our avatar. That's the age range that we go to. So I wouldn't be discouraged. Nerves, that's really nothing you can do about it. So when you're meeting people, just ask questions.
Right.
Drop this. People love to talk about themselves.
I was talking to a personal chef, a private chef, and he was like telling me everything. He was like, went to Thailand. I actually have a big interest in like living in Thailand one day. That was a great conversation start right there. I was picking something.
You don't go into the conversations with a want, like what you want out of them. Right. You go in just getting to know people, just asking questions and stuff like that. Correct. And once you get that down, those nerves kind of subside a little bit, and it's more so less about you and more so about the person that you're talking to. That's the nugget there.
And that's what we were saying too when we meet up with our mentors. Unless we like literally have a goal for that meeting, like we have to just get this answered, we don't go straight into the meetings like that. And neither does our mentor. It's more so of relationship based. Like you said, we're in the people business. So when we meet up with them, it's just like, how you doing? Catching up, like, what's going on in your life? And I would say 90% of the conversation and the meeting is just talking about ourselves, us and them, and the other 10% is business.
And the kids and stuff like that.
So and actually when we got started too, we were always the youngest in the room.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
And we never talked about this, Marcus. But wait, no. You probably not even gonna know what I'm saying.
Let's go.
We've never talked about this, but we started off going to a lot of networking events, and we went to one. And we probably never talked about it because it was so cringy and we were embarrassed afterwards.
Let me talk about it.
I mean, it's not a like full blown story. But anyway, went to the event with my dad. He invited us, and we went. And just everybody we talked to, we were like, we're just here for money. We're just looking for money. And I was like, and so we got to this one couple, and they were an older couple, like much older than us. Like I would say they were like 40 to 50 range. Okay. And we were in our 20s at that time. And they were like, you're coming at it all wrong. Never say you're just here for that. You never say you're just looking for money. Then that's a turnoff for people. Right. People want to know you. People want to know exactly what you want to do. They don't want to know that you're just here to utilize them just for money. Yeah. And since then, we've gone to every event and just been ourselves and just, just talk about business in general. Don't say we're just here for that. Right. That's the only purpose.
Yeah. And I think another thing that's changed for us too, as we've come to meet more people that do all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of stuff. Right?
So it's now not even just getting to know people, but as you talk to people, they'll start dropping some needs and stuff like that out. Yeah. So not only is it advantageous for you to talk to them and kind of like get to know them personally, but become a people connector. So like if this person you're talking to them, you meet them for the first time, then you guys go out on lunch day. It's like, man, I had this horrible experience with a contractor. It's like, no, I know a really good one. Now you've connected that person with somebody else, and now they remember you for that. So when they have something that comes up, now you're top of mind for those things. And the more you do that with people, the top of mind you become for more people. Right. So that's the approach that we're taking now. We're not so it used to be that, like Jaquita said, it's about the person. Now it's about how can I help you? Yes. That's what it's about.
Service.
Now. Yeah. Do you remember that event?
Yeah, I remember. That's why I shut up.
We never talked about it. We never talked about it.
Yeah, man. That's when you be nervous and embarrassed.
Right. That's one thing I try to I'll be like, dang it. I'm like, yo, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Just ask a question that's not about money. Yeah. Because the first thing I try to do is like get somebody to familiarize themselves with me some way, somehow.
Yeah.
And that's why the podcast is such a good segue, because there's so much servitude in podcasts, especially in the, like you said, in the real estate sector.
Yeah.
People need to come on interviews and spread their knowledge and actually like get people to reach out to them on Instagram or anything like that.
Yeah.
And another thing is, how do people get those people in those rooms like to trust them?
Got
Like,
it's all about the relationship.
Yeah.
That's why I said you don't lead with what you want. You lead with how you can help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like people will, you know, remember how you made them feel. So like if you're helping, they're always, you know, like, man, that's a good guy.
Yeah.
He helped me out of this situation. But if it's always, you know, like Jacoby said, the money. And I think we went into that because we started flipping homes. It was like we got the deals.
Yeah.
We thought that was the thing. Like people would just throw money at us if we had the deals, and that was just not the right way. So it's all about how you can, you know, help people out. Like people will forget, you know, what you say. Some people will forget what you do, but people will never ever forget how you make them feel.
Yeah.
Never.
So I mean, I don't think it's about getting people to trust you. It's just like what we said. It's organic, and you keep showing up.
Right.
And I mean, and just doing business the moral way and the ethical way that you know how, and they'll just start trusting you. Like I mean, you don't make that happen.
Right.
Like it organically.
Right. It's kind of like social media, where you want those organic
you don't want to pay for them.
You don't want to pay. So
making them is like paying for them.
Constantly showing up, and people don't get that. As far as like, social media makes everybody lazy, because it's easy to just pull out your phone and shoot content and not have to be around nobody and try to get people to come see you that way. But to actually come, make that drive, and actually be there, I think people become more trustworthy of you. Like, I know you're gonna put in the time to come do this or come do that, because you come to this networking event and you live such and such. Like, if somebody asks me, "Oh, where you live?" I say Spring, and they be like, "You came all the way here? 45 minutes?" I'm like,
Yep.
Is that weird?
No, it's not weird. When you want it, it doesn't matter the distance.
It don't.
We traveled all the way to California one time for a networking event.
Yeah, we
on our anniversary weekend. We made a weekend out of it because it was our anniversary. But because we wanted to be face to face with someone that we really admired and we wanted to use as a mentor, we traveled all the way to California. And it wasn't like a one-on-one. It was just like one big networking event. I mean, it wasn't even that big when we got there.
Yeah, it wasn't that big, but it was impactful.
We still have relationships with people that we met there
in California.
Still have relationships. Some of them actually got into real estate after we talked to them. And now, man, some of them are just doing big things. I'm like, man, like.
And when you going back to sometimes like we network and we don't do real estate networking event. The one we traveled to California for was not a real estate event.
What was it?
It was
for Amazon.
FBA.
Nothing to do with it.
Yeah. So Marcus has tried a few things. He's a serial entrepreneur. So he tried. Well, he used to sell Amazon, not try. He was successful with it, but we had to focus on one thing. But after people love our story, right?
Right.
So when we were doing introductions and like tell us what you do and everything, and then we were explaining what we do and what we've done in real estate. Like after the event, everybody just stormed us. But like Marcus said, from that event, some people got started in real estate. Some people are already in real estate, and we had that conversation with them about some of the creative things they can do. When I tell you, after we seen him 3 months later, he was flipping $1 million homes in California.
Crazy stuff.
He got with a team because, we always tell people, partner, you can do a whole lot more. He got with a team, and they done amazing things.
Team is very important.
He was ahead of us. Like, I'm like, dang, he
at
flipping
one point, he passed us up, and I was like, man, I love to see it.
Yeah.
I love to see it. But that so although that event was based around Amazon FBA, I'll tell you the real about that event. We went to that event because of how that person was with people. Like he amassed this following that no matter what he put out,
Yeah.
they were there for it. And I was like, I want to know how he's doing that. So we didn't go for Amazon. I went for him.
Right.
I wanted to learn from him. How is he, attracting these crowds of people, and how, and not he's only not like attracting them, but he's providing value and helping them.
Yeah.
I was like, man, if there's any sort of attraction marketing out there, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned trust.
Right.
So if I were, if you, I know you're doing capital raising. If I was to come to you with a multifamily, no, we're not going to do multifamily. If I came to you with a loan right now, you got the capital for it, would you trust me with that deal?
Probably not.
You wouldn't.
If I don't know you.
No.
Yeah.
To us.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dang.
Of course. I know you though.
But that's the thing. Have I ever asked you for anything?
Nah. In fact, you gave me more than I could ever,
We did it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
We did exactly what we went to California to learn to you.
What the heck?
Yeah. So you see it, and it's not like something purposeful and intentional. It's just it's really just who we are. We just didn't even know that's all it took. Just being authentic is what we learned from him.
Yeah.
It's just like, be yourself, be honest, and stick to your word. Do what you say you're gonna do.
Right.
And that's really it. Don't expect anything. Just have a genuine relationship.
Right.
Now, it's crazy that we had to fly all the way to California to learn that. But it paid off.
Yeah.
We had a great time that weekend.
Yeah,
but that's what I was thinking with my thing in the brand for me is traveling, because all I used to do as a kid was travel because my mom was in the military, and that's my story. But I want to stick to that way of living, but like take a different angle for it. Actually, like be able to interview people around the world that I meet along the way. Love and it. Go to those networking events, because I was looking for some too in California as well. And then the DJ that I interviewed, my brother, he lives in California now. So it's kind of like, okay, I can take that angle and meet people like he's meeting celebrities, because it's California.
Yeah.
So he's meeting those people, and I'm like, he's like, come out, we can meet these people. And I'm like, that makes sense eventually.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, man, I can go to Dallas because my mom lives in Dallas.
Yeah.
I go to Louisiana. I can go to Florida. I'm looking at these places. I'm like, there's so much out there. There's so many people.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't have to like just focus on trying to find people that are like real estate investors, like you said, taking those different angles.
Right.
There's no telling who you'd meet.
That's
and I know, so so I'll tell you another thing. For a minute, we had a negative connotation around events because we started to go to a lot of them. And I was like, man, there's nobody really doing deals like that.
Yeah.
Like, we were like, okay, forget the events. We're just going to do masterminds.
Right.
And I was just like, is that really the way to go? Like, is there something that we're doing wrong? Like so then we started going to like, things like conferences and stuff like that. There's people all around you that are doing all kinds of things. And that's how we got exposed to that. Because there are people at conferences like we were at that Amazon event that have no intention of doing that business. They're just there to meet people. And you might come across that person.
Wow.
So we're like big on networking events. That's just our thing. That's how we meet people. And that spins off to other things, like me going to golf stuff. Like, play golf.
Get invited to go. Right?
Yeah. It's just that. And then, you start meeting people. Like, I met like attorneys and doctors. And they are like, what we ended up finding was they're like, yeah, we want to invest in real estate. We just don't have the time.
Yeah.
And that's where the private money stuff comes in for us. It was like, okay, if you don't have the time, we can invest in your behalf. And that's where the building of the fund came in.
Right.
So you don't have to like be actively, you can be as passive as you want to.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like, so there's really not a huge difference between like a real estate fund and the hedge fund. It's pretty much the same thing, just a different product.
Yeah.
And the hedge funds, they're super passive.
Yeah.
They don't they're not sitting at the table telling their advisors what to invest in, what stocks to pick, what to short. No.
Yeah.
They're hands off. They're just sitting back collecting their dividends, and it's the same thing with real estate.
And the great thing about the fund is that you never had to have experience in real estate.
Yeah.
As long as you know numbers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
no degree.
No, none of that.
And so it's funny that like I wish I knew that back then, but even I don't like to place that type of thought process on those type of things because like now I still have the advantage.
Yeah, you're right where you need to be.
Yeah, you're right
now.
Like you said, right where you need to be, and the time is now.
Yeah,
now
it's always gonna be now.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so, like, a lot of y'all's energy, like being around y'all, it kind of like rubbed off on me because now I'm like, hey, don't like fall for the these other parts of real estate as far as
like put your money
wholesale,
in.
Shiny object syndrome.
Yes, shiny object syndrome, and like I struggled tremendously,
brother. I was in the same book. Did you just not hear her say that? What she said, serial entrepreneur,
yeah,
a lot of things, Amazon, FBA.
Yeah.
Then what she say? We stopped because we had to focus on that one thing.
Yeah. Now, you know, a lot of people like to say like the wealthiest people like have like 7 streams of income.
Yeah.
Or is it 7 or 8? I don't know.
7, 8.
Yes.
Well, anyways, that doesn't mean that you can't try different things within that one thing. Like we have private money lending.
Yeah. So you can be in like
pick up rentals or
you can be in real estate, just 7 different streams of that. You know, like I wouldn't do like real estate and then get into like Turo and all this like
those type of
nothing
things.
To do with each other, man.
At all.
And you can't spread yourself too thin with that.
Right.
So like if you're into like real estate, so I know people who do like they'll do like flips, they'll do wholesale, they'll do like sometimes they'll lend out on their own private money, and then they'll do mentorship. So that's 4 streams.
Yeah.
But you're not really doing anything different.
Yeah.
It's all related. So in that sense, it's fine. But if you start spreading yourself across businesses that have really nothing to do with each other,
right,
especially in the beginning, without fully fulfilling that one thing that you started with, you're going to spread yourself too thin and you're going to feel like you're not getting anywhere with anything.
Right.
So, but there are, people in business that venture off into other stuff. The vast majority of it is passive. Like so you'll get that, like they'll have like that one active thing that they're well known for. Like you can say like sport players and stuff like that, NBA professionals, and they'll have like that thing. They're known for being an NBA, but then you'll hear like these nuggets where they've invested in art or they've invested in apartment companies.
Right. Passive.
That's passive.
Yeah.
They're not operating any of that.
Yes.
Art, they may not even be the ones doing the research.
Right.
They get a tip and they look at it, say that looks like a good deal, and they invest in it.
Right.
Different streams, different things, but they're fully passive and they're not active in it.
Yeah. Or you can be active in several things once you automate that one thing and you master it. Or you have your team. You have to have a team that knows what they're doing. Yeah. And then you can move on to something else.
Yeah. So I like that because systems allows people to actually walk away in a sense. Like for instance, the podcast. I pay too because I feel like I have a lot of talent and other things. Like I don't put too much energy. Like people are like, that must be a lot of work. I'm like, no. I have a team. Like you probably just see me, but and me talking. But after that, I get to go about my business and go to another event because I pay to have a team to actually like support me and do everything with me. Yeah,
and that's important.
Yeah,
no matter what you're doing,
important.
No matter what you're doing, it's very important to have a team.
Yeah, because you can't do it all.
You can't
burn yourself out.
Right.
Yeah, so that's another lesson. So in the 11 years, that was another one that we like. You can't do everything,
right?
We're super control freaks. We feel like nobody can do things better than us. But we quickly learned that man, you're gonna make mistakes too. Yeah. So just hand it off to each other. You take care of the important stuff, and let your team handle the day to day. So that's what we are. We're pretty much the decision makers, and our team, they're taking care of everything else behind the scenes.
Yeah, so you gotta have that mindset of not being a money hoarder.
Yeah, and that allows you to spend more time doing the things you want to do. Right. You say you want to travel. I'm sorry. You say you want to travel. It allows us to spend more time with our kids. Yeah. And everything. So
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And just like learning so much from y'all, a brand is so important. Whenever y'all host y'all event, y'all do have Phoebe Capital.
Yeah. everywhere.
And I'm like, bruh, it's everywhere. And I'm like, I know exactly what I'm seeing. Like it's a great strategy because I know I don't even have to question it no more.
Yeah.
I know it's Phoebe Capital.
Yeah.
Oh, I see Marcus post. I'm like, he don't even have to say it's Phoebe Capital. I know it's Phoebe Capital.
Yeah.
Because y'all do such a great job. Y'all wearing y'all stuff.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't y'all wear it, y'all give it out. It's like when we come to the stand, you gotta write your name on the thing.
Yeah.
You see Phoebe Capital right there. You don't even have to touch it. You just know. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and that's now that is intentional.
That is very intentional.
Did y'all learn that from Did y'all learn that from the conference in Los Angeles though?
No.
California? No?
That was all really just Marcus.
Yeah.
Because Marcus in the relationship, he's the researcher.
Yeah.
He is the one that's gonna dive deep and figure out exactly the way you're supposed to do things.
Yeah.
And he knew that we had to have really good branding.
Yeah.
And
really good branding. Really simple.
Yeah.
Phoebe is 4 letters.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Easy to recognize.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not gonna get the spelling incorrect.
No.
So, he knew those things were very important. And something that, that just in your face, you always would think about it. Like you said, like when you see that logo or you see that name, you know
what it is.
Right.
When you see us, and that's just, it just goes back, and I hate to sound like a beating horse, but like I'm beating the horse, but it's just all about authenticity. Like like just being yourself. Like people know us for that.
Yeah. So when anybody mentions our name now, it's synonymous with real estate. You're not going to think about anything else. And that's intentional. So whenever you need something in real estate, I want you to come to us.
Right.
Exactly.
That's totally intentional.
Right.
And you see the branding everywhere because of that brand recognition piece. And that's just us kind of modeling after the brands that we know and love.
Right.
So when you're driving down the street, you see Amazon. Well, you know what that's about.
Right.
UPS, you know what they do.
Right.
So I'm like,
3
okay,
words.
how can I model off of what they're doing to create something like that for myself? And that's just basically modeling off of all of these brands that are already doing it.
Yeah.
They're not reinventing the wheel here.
Not.
It's already there for you.
Right.
And that's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's always the quality brands that we want to model off of. We always
quality,
like
right.
like high end, like even when you look at fashion, we always say like for the high end brands, you really don't see commercials for them.
Nope.
I saw a Porsche commercial just this past week, and I was like,
for the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, Marcus, it's a Porsche commercial. But if you see a Porsche, anybody, I would say 95% of people knows what a Porsche is.
Just because.
Yeah. And they know it to be a sports car. And, if you grown up liking sports cars, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna like a Porsche, So they don't have to promote themselves.
They don't.
It is what it is.
Yeah. The product speaks for itself.
And their family names too.
Yeah. And their family names because of their marketing strategy, which is direct to the consumer, direct to the people.
Right.
Like I said, our business is people. And that all of that is kind of coming full circle for us because that's just how we market the same way.
Yep.
You're basically just seeing what we're modeling after from brands that we like and buy from and love for our own personal.
Right. And that's how I had came with the idea of Midas print. Because I used to work for Amazon and I was looking, I'm like, it's the color blue. Yeah. Amazon then has a smiley face, which means trustworthy and good attitude.
Yeah.
I'm like, just imagine how it makes people feel.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. Color psychology. Yeah. Which actually makes people, And that's why when I see the color red, it's like alertness. Yeah. That's why I'm like, how is this flower catching in my eye? And it's like red line in the right places, wherever your eye searches for when you're scanning. Boom, boom, boom. It's like never just down the middle. Yep. Yeah. It's always to the left or right. Yeah. I was like, they did an impressive job. I was like, man, I'm like,
I'll give Marcus his props.
I'm always analyzing
dots on them eyes and feet.
Yeah, I'm always analyzing. Like I'll ruin a movie. Yeah. I'll ruin a movie. That's how bad I be analyzing. I'm like trying to learn.
Right.
And I'm just doing the same thing.
Done. Yeah. But remember, I didn't want red. Yeah. I don't know what color. I can't remember what color I wanted, but I didn't want red for some reason. But I mean, now that you say that, I'm glad we did. I mean, if that's helpful.
Yeah, that red, I knew that. So like in marketing, it's like this. red, it attracts attention, but it's also a call to action color too. Like that's a psychology thing. That's psychology marketing too. It draws your attention in order for you to do something.
Right.
And that was intentional with those two eyes that you saw.
Yeah. So. It's kind of like the cartoon Dexter's Laboratory. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Yeah.
Dee Dee would always hit the red button. I'm like, the red button. That red button, I think everybody knew about the red button. If anybody was to mention Dexter, they'll think about Dee Dee pushing the red button.
Yes.
I was like, wow.
And that's any movie or anything crazy. Yeah. Like the red button is always like, do you touch it? Do you touch it?
Yeah.
Touch it? Like, you know, something happens big when you touch the red button.
Red. Yeah. I'm like, yo.
Yeah. So now we're going to have everybody looking at submission forms, looking at that red submit button. Going, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially on your phone.
Yeah.
You know, you click that submit and it's a red. You're like, yeah, all right. Let me go ahead and press it. Leave me alone. I don't feel like I'm, you know, about to get charged up for something.
Submit, apply here, all of that. Click here.
Right.
They're always red.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, I'm thinking, like, that was my thing when I read that book, Raising Capital in Real Estate.
Yep.
Branding, marketing was, like, the biggest things.
Oh, yeah.
Networking.
Yep.
If you're not in the room, you're not branding at all. I don't care if you think you're going to do social media. You're not branding. You're not marketing at all. Because nobody can familiarize themselves with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing like a podcast or something like this.
Well,
so
yeah,
that's why
course.
I said this is very important too.
But you know, I had my mentor who brought me on for an interview. I learned all and everything.
Yeah.
All and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah.
And that's the part that a lot of people miss. The all in part.
Yes.
Because a lot of people have great ideas. A lot of people do. It's the execution part is the problem.
Yeah.
And when it's time to go all in, they have no answer for it. Like they just don't show up.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
So
showing up every time.
Yeah, that's
every time.
I've been now that's the one thing I've been trying to, rack my brain trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Like as we meet people and offer guidance and stuff like that, how do I get them to take that and do something with it?
Yeah.
Make sure that they have, I don't know, I was like, give them homework. I don't know, something. Like, you're asking for this information, I'm providing it. I really want you to take something from it and actually go do something with it. Yeah. And another thing about that I can say about our mentorship, just as we're sitting here talking about it, I was thinking, have we ever been charged for it?
No, never.
Wow.
No, our mentors ever charged us anything.
Right.
Never. But what we do bring to our mentors are referrals and business from ourselves.
Okay.
So, I mean, not that they were ever going to charge us anyway.
Yeah.
But that's the way we pay them back.
Okay.
We speak highly of them because they are great people.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, we tell people about them in business, and we've made them a lot of money.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing that I can kind of say, like, if you're just starting out and you want to go, like, I can't find a mentor. How do I find a mentor? One thing that mentors look for is for you to already be in motion.
Right.
And that's what I said. Like, so like we're a little bit different. Like I said, we're dropping nuggets and we're trying to get people to actually do something with the information that we're giving them.
Yeah.
But I think that's unique to us in a sense because a lot of the mentors that we've had, I saw that they take a liking to us versus other people that we've seen gone to them and they didn't really work with them. I was like, well, we're already in motion. We're already moving. They can see the stuff that we're already doing.
Yeah.
So basically their role was just to tap into that.
Yeah.
So I can see what you're doing. There are things like, well, maybe if you take this route, and maybe you'll get more success if you go this route.
Right.
So already being in motion, that makes things a whole lot easier when you're out there looking for somebody to mentor you.
Right.
I don't think that makes us a whole lot different. Now, we will give people a little bit more time than some people will.
Yeah.
But just like when you first showed up and Marcus was, asking, so what are you doing? You know, what, and we wouldn't be here, if we didn't think that you were doing something, you know.
Yeah.
So I would say you have to be somewhat like show either all in or in motion, or we won't take the additional time. Now, we're always going to have a conversation with
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Now,
Because I want to get to know you.
when we take our personal time and take away from like our kids and like our personal time when we're not doing a big meetup, probably not anymore. Because you have to put forth some effort on your end as well. So
right. And that's something I realized when I was getting into real estate and I read the book, and then y'all started giving me like those nuggets. I realized my weakness is that I don't have patience for the market. And so what I decided to do, since networking was like my thing, and I have to just go crazy with it. I have to go all in. I said, okay, this podcast, let's do it. I will put all in for the podcast and keep networking until I finally find the patience. So until it becomes my strength, because right now my strength is networking and doing a podcast and like getting people to know who I am, familiarize themselves with me, and familiarize themselves with my brand. I said, I'm moving. And that's okay. I want people to know that it's okay. Just get started with something that allows you to be in the forefront.
People will recognize that, man. So you have a podcast about real estate that's just going out to millions of people. Right. So even locally, as you're at these events and you're referencing that podcast, somebody comes and listen to it. And you're, they come back to you and say, you meet that professional that's trying to find a passive way to invest. And then they hear your content. And it's like, hey, I heard you talk about this. How can I learn more about that?
Right.
And now you're raising capital.
Right.
It's really that simple.
And again, not discounting what you do, because I like to tell a lot of people the money is made between the lines.
Right.
So you would become like the middleman for a lot of people. You are the thing that stands between them and getting what they do and their brand out to the world.
Right.
So a lot of times when we were doing like some of the things we were doing in real estate, we found out a lot of more people that like put the deal together made a lot more money than we did.
Wow.
Because the money is made between the lines. And that's actually another reason why we got into lending. Because when you think about a lender, what are they? They're in between the lines because they're in between the buyer and the seller and getting the deal done.
Right.
So
that's right. Where I want to be.
And that's funny because like I had an interview yesterday, matter of fact, and the next day, I didn't put out the video really yet, but the next day, no, as a matter of fact, today, I had somebody who has an entertainment business hit me up in my DMs, and I'm like, what? Okay. Yeah. I was like, that's all. I don't even care if it's not even real estate. It's just the fact that it was something. Entertainment is still still driving. It's huge.
And it's out there. It's gonna live out there for people to see over
and you never know if this entertainer might need a real estate investor's Airbnb or commercial real estate. I said boom. Angles.
That's
angles and levels. That's how I had to think about it. And that's why this podcast, I'm like, man, this stuff is awesome. I said, no wonder Marcus Jaquita be doing it.
Because you want to stay top of mind.
Right. You want to stay top of mind.
So for us, it's however we can meet people. Like our podcasts and our meetups, and we get in front of people. And then sometimes when we're out, like we make sure that everybody know what we do. So even when we get invited to places, a lot of times it's just, sometimes it's friends, but then sometimes it's people that we just meet.
Yeah.
Hey, I want you to meet this person because I heard you do this, and I want you to introduce you to this person. See if you can help them out.
Right.
We got a loan today just based off that.
Wow.
For real. And it was based on networking.
Yeah.
Because actually, Marcus already knew the guy, but he hadn't seen him in years. They worked together a long time ago. And we hadn't seen him in years, but we went to a networking event and he was there. And we just kept in contact with him. Like you said, you already have to be in motion. And he had started doing real estate since. Now, where they worked had nothing to do with real estate.
Yeah, nothing.
And he had started doing real estate since. And we've set up a couple of lunches and just meetings with him just to see what he has going on. And we hadn't done any business together.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a call out of the blue today, and he needs some money by the end of the week.
So I trust you to get it done. This is the situation, and we're able to get it done.
Yeah.
But the thing on the patience thing is it's no difference. We have to learn this too.
Yeah.
Is all of those interactions, just like what you had, they add up. Then next thing you know, every day you're getting calls.
They do.
We've been in business for what, 11 years now?
Yeah.
That's why. So like we're on the other side of it now.
Yeah.
But we started out just like you, over the years, that stuff start adding up, and then before you know it, you have more money and more business, and you know what to do with.
Oh yeah.
That's what. That's another reason why we ended up having to pivot to private money. We had more money than flips.
Wow.
And you can't have your investors' money just sitting there. They're gonna move it somewhere else. I was like, Jaquitta's like, well, how can we scale this?
Right.
What's next? Like,
money problems.
Yeah, we literally had our gap funders that would like gap fund for us during our flips. That were like, all right, so when's the next
deal? It's been a couple months.
Yeah.
I was like, man, we got to scale. I can't lose. We worked too hard to build up this money.
Yeah.
I can't go losing this.
Yeah.
So we bought it all up and made a brand new business out of it that's constantly working.
Right.
Because so the private money space, as far as scalability, night and day. Yeah. It's like
night and day.
Night and day. I don't think so. Now we're on the other side. Now we got all this money and loans, and like it's kind of like balancing out now, which is that's an incredible feeling.
Oh yeah.
And now, like I said, we're not gonna ever stop raising money because, like I said, that rapport that we've built over the past, I can't believe I'm saying this, past decade.
Yeah.
That stuff is paying dividends now.
For real.
All that work and all the people that we met in the past, that stuff is paying off. So yeah, I would say it's okay. Like you're starting to see it. You're seeing it right now.
It's hard, but like. You just have to look long term.
Yeah, definitely.
No, definitely.
Our mentor told us the other day, it's a marathon, man. I was just like, man, I want it now. He's like, man, I know you're just joking, but you know this is a long play.
Yeah, no, I mean, but when we first got into it, I thought I was gonna be quitting my job in 2 years. Remember?
Right.
And you know, I was an engineer, and so it takes a lot to replace my salary, and plus we have children, so you can't just go and run out and just think you're going to replace your salary, especially when you start a new business in a year. Not knowing that, we're like, okay, 5 years in, like,
I don't think people take that into that's a good point you just made. I don't think people take that into consideration when they get into it with their primary objective is to quit their 9 to 5. It's actually when they're already a high income earner. Yeah. Have any idea how much effort that's going to take?
Yeah. And that was the problem. So, you know, and this is not like a dig at anybody.
Yeah.
But because we had already put in the work on the front end of our lives by like going to get the degrees and going and getting the high paid jobs and having children. So I think it would have been easier, even if we were in high paying jobs, to leave if we didn't have responsibility of children.
Right.
But our kids were already a bit older and they already had expectations of life and everything from us and the quality of life that we were providing them. So it was very hard. And not saying you can't sacrifice.
Yeah.
We did make some sacrifices too. But it was just very hard getting to that point. A little bit harder for us getting to that point where I was able to quit my job and comfortable with it. And even when I did, we still had to talk with our children like, hey, you know, things are going to be a little bit slower. Luckily, we did not have to pull back on anything. We actually went a little bit deeper and to things with them. But wanted to have that talk with them because it is scary. I mean, even for us being in business for over a decade, when I quit my job, it was still scary. Because again, we have those little people that's looking up to us and they're expecting the same thing, no matter where you work at, no matter if you don't have a job, whatever. You know, they're still expecting the same things they were getting before.
Because I got a son in my first year in business, I was like, man, I was making like 50,000, 53,000 after all I was doing. And my son didn't care.
No.
He was like, hey, we going to the mall, you going to do this. I was like, what? I was like, bruh, I'm a single father, but at the same time, it was like a huge learning experience. It was like, no matter what, you show up for him. And you gonna show up for your business. That was the philosophy.
Absolutely.
And like with this podcast, like I had to go get my son before I came here. I was like, you show up for him, you gonna show up for the podcast. Like how it happened. Everything worked out. And I was like, bro, just show up.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you see my head down. I was texting because we had to have Gigi pick up the kids. So I had to text her, hey, you know, y'all good, you know. But you always have to show up for your kids, no matter what. Like, you know, just like in business. You show up in life. Whatever you committed to being a parent. You committed to this business. You have to just show up. And like I said, like I always like to say for this too, like everything works.
Yeah.
Right.
As long as you work it.
Yeah. Faith without works is dead. Work
it.
without faith is dead. That's all this is.
100%.
Yes. Anything, any business works.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any business is like a true failure because someone has made it work, right?
Yeah.
It's just how much effort you put into it. And same thing with parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
exactly.
we made a we made a YouTube video about that, and we were talking about because we were saying we literally Jaquita and I, we literally sit around and have conversations like this, and we were sitting there talking, and I was just like, I don't think I've ever met a person who's kept going and didn't eventually find success at some point.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't know that person.
I don't know that person.
Yeah. So, but if you quit, you're definitely gonna fail.
Yeah, you definitely.
Not related to real estate, but this is great. Just this morning, I was listening to the radio. I listened to 104.1 in the morning. And they had their they call it the Drunken Show. And it's just a show, just whatever they want to do for that day. It's the end of the year. And they always bring this guy on. He's 87 now. He created a song, I think it was in 1964. And he made it for his children. And it was a Christmas song, and he went all these years trying to get it, and he was in a band too, trying to get it played on the radio. He would tell everybody that he meet, and his son would say, you go to the doctor, you go to the grocery store, anybody his dad came in contact with would know about that song. It wasn't until he became an older guy and he had someone taking care of him, and he told her about the song. Just so happened her husband was like an anchor on Channel 13. And he got his song on Channel 13. He got a song on KRBE. And then Inside Edition called him like, hey, we have somebody in your on the way to your house right now that want to interview you and your family. So for 50 years, now, hopefully it don't take us any more than 50 years. But for 50 years, this guy was waiting on that song to pay off. And when it paid off big.
Okay.
So,
Y'all
have any questions for me?
What's next, man? I want to know about you. See, like you already know us. I want to know what's next, man. What's going on with you? You let us know what's going on in your world and how we can help.
Yeah. So, I remember I had read it, but he was like, "Man, let me know how it goes." Yeah. I was like, "Yeah, I know." I'm like, I'm trying to see how it goes because it's still hard for me. But being a teacher, that's my focus right now. In the podcast, but also I'm like I don't have the patience, but I'm trying to find the patience, like just to like sit around, think about real estate, just think about the podcast, think about building a system to have like that balance, even though I don't think I'm ever gonna have balance. Where there's always gonna be something I have to put so much forward. And like I might not have time for like those little things I used to do because I'm trying to like level up, and I'm constantly like dealing with people that are elevating like y'all, and then my mentor that does the podcast for me. It's like so much going on that like there's days where I'm just trying to chill because I'm like overstimulated.
Yeah, take a break. Yeah, you can do that.
And but right now, being a teacher, I'm trying to be a great teacher. Even though I'm a first year, I'm like, I'm about to be the greatest. I'm about to be the greatest.
Love it.
I know I'm not gonna be here for long, but I'm gonna be the greatest. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care how long it takes. But that's like one of those focuses because for me, the kids look up to me.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned a podcast to one of the kids I know I can trust. I know they're going somewhere because they always ask me questions.
Yeah.
Not just about the work, but like, Mr. Powell, what about like, should I take this route for college? Should I go to the Air Force? Should I play baseball? I'm like, yeah, do it all.
Yeah.
Do it all. If you can go to college and play baseball and get in the Air Force or whatever, do it. Do those things because I remember when I was in college, I wasn't able to ask nobody those questions. My teacher was not looking like me. So I could ask those questions and they tell me this, and this. So I have a belonging right now in my career, and I'm like, I don't want to be a principal. I knocked that out. I was like, I'm not about to be a principal. No way. Because for me, I'm in world geography, and I have a brand and a podcast, and I eventually want to go around the world and bring the kids back something. These kids don't go outside of Houston at all. So I'm like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm fine with that. I don't care if it's like 10 years, like what y'all was doing. Even if my business gonna launch. Once it does, I'm probably gonna feel different about it. I'm like, well, forget them kids. Right. But I'm like, just learn the life lessons that come with it. Because I had my first conflict with a parent teacher conference. I was like, bruh. I don't see how they do it.
Yeah.
So that's just where I'm at.
Yeah.
And my next move is to eventually, I'll over exceed my teacher salary.
Yeah.
Love
with
it.
this business that I'm building right now. I'm like, I'm gonna exceed it, but I'm gonna still be there. But I'm gonna be able to kick my feet up if they actually decide, oh, you're doing too much, and I'll write you up. Well, write me up. I'll be able to do that and not stress. So
I love that. And if you keep at this pace, you would definitely get there. Keep this passion and this burning passion, you would definitely get there. And that exact scenario happened to me, and that's how I quit my job. I had no plans on doing it right then because I was somewhere I was comfortable. But I got written up, and I was like, Marcus, I'm about to quit my job.
Right.
And I wrote my resignation letter today. I talked, and like I said, I talked to the kids, and my daughter was like, Mommy, I'm proud of you. Quit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You got them rolling. You got that money rolling. You don't even care.
Nope.
And so that's the thing. And I'm really glad y'all came out. Y'all go ahead and follow him on Instagram, Phoebe Capital. Please follow that first.
Yes.
I know y'all want to invest in real estate. Y'all want to park y'all money. Even if y'all have any questions, Marcus and Jaquita are very good at that. As you can see, they said that. And make sure y'all follow me on Instagram. Call me Midas Print. And then follow us on YouTube. Subscribe and tune in next time.